Welcome back. It's approaching 7:49. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Anne and Martin.
And joining us to go through some of the day's headlines, broadcaster Andrew Eborn and philosopher Piers Ben. And a very good morning again to you.
Good morning.
Let's kick off with the passing of the head of the Magic Circle.
Yes, very sad news. Overnight, 97-year-old David Burglass, who was the original international man of mystery. He was magic advisor to all, I think, 5 James Bond movies.
Is that right?
Yeah, amazing. Octopussy, he used to work with lots of people around there. He did a brilliant magician. He was also the president of the Magic Circle, and my favourite Magic Circle president for a number of years, from 1989 to 1998. He got an MBE for services to magic, and also psychology, which is... And Prince William, when he presented it to him, he was one of who said, David, is that really you, or is it just one of your illusions?
Oh, brilliant.
And I think we've got a couple of pictures. There we are. That's him with his son, Marvin, who I'm delighted to say is now also the president of the Magic Circle. So David got to see that sort of generation coming on as well. And that's at the Magic Circle.
What does the Magic Circle do? So
the Magic Circle is a collection of the greatest magicians in the world. It was founded in 1905, just above Pinoli's restaurant, which is just in the heart of Soho. And I help arrange the blue plaque there. So you can go down and see a blue plaque. We've got Dynamo to unveil it.
So, Andrew, I'm detecting you're something of a wizard yourself.
Well, I am a member of the Magic Circle. So this, above my poppy, I have a little red badge, which is a member of the Inner Magic Circle, which was given to me by Ali Bongo.
Ali Bongo?
Do you remember Ali Bongo? Yes, absolutely. And he did David Nixon, he was Paul Daniels and that sort of stuff. So, yes, we have the Magic Circle. We meet regularly around the world.
What do you do when you meet?
We have all sorts of things from shows. There are shows for the public as well. So we do Christmas shows. There are at-homes. You can come and see close-up magic. There's also something called Breathe, which is basically teaching people, children who maybe cannot communicate in an appropriate way. Wow. Learning magic tricks is really powerful.
Can you do magic?
I'll disappear soon, but yes, I can.
You don't reveal your secrets.
Thank you. I do magic, and that's what we do as well. It's always a joy.
How amazing.
OK, good. Let's move on to one of your stories, Piers. This isn't magic. In fact, you'll like this not a lot. This is the pandemic, the COVID inquiry, of course, been rolling on.
It's not magic. This is a long story in the Telegraph on page 22. I think a lot of the details have been discussed in the news already. There's quite a lot known, but it's about the chaos and panic and the egos and the sheer viciousness in Number 10 at the period. I think what I take from this is, I mean, I'm not a fan of Boris Johnson, but I will give him that it was a tremendously difficult decision to make. And people criticise him for flip-flopping and being Mr. Trolley. Who would enter him that job? It's one of these, you don't know what right thing to do is, but if you get it wrong, you get it very, very badly wrong. We didn't know when the vaccine was going to be available. That's the thing.
You know, one thing I think is interesting about this COVID inquiry, they're all fighting like rats in a sack, aren't they? They're using language like squaddies on shore leave. It's a very, very kind of unflattering picture all round. But they're not asking the big question, and that is, should we even have locked down in the first place? Or should we have done it in a better way? Instead, it's just a big blame game.
Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it? I always say history repeats itself because we never learn the lessons from history. It's not the first pandemic we've had. The wrongly named 1918 Spanish flu, which was wrongly named because it's after the King Alfonso XIII, because it was publicly sort of talked about his illness. It actually started in Kansas, the Kansas cough, but it followed the same pattern. In a couple of years, it was then the pandemic had finished. We will have more pandemics. What we need to look at is what lessons can we learn to make sure we do the right things in the future.
And what does this story give? Is there any indication here of what we can learn, or is this just an overview of how incompetent
it seemed more of an overview, but I think we can learn something just by reading it. I mean, it's all well saying we weren't prepared and PPI wasn't there and nobody knew that... I mean, the fact that we didn't realise till 2 weeks too late that the exponential infection rate, but we weren't morally prepared, and that is the most important thing. You mentioned lockdowns. I mean, it wasn't at all obvious what we should do. Lockdowns were there to prevent disease and illness, but they also had a cost. It meant that people couldn't go to church, schools. We hadn't factored that in. We need moral preparedness, and that next time, when there will be a next time, we'll have that.
But one of the biggest lessons, of course, is that everything you ever say to anybody will end up in the hands of the person you least want it to. So be very careful what you say.
Do we have very quick time for the King Charles cake?
I love this. This is a fantastic story. The finishing touches are applied to a life-size cake figure of King Charles III. Have we got it? Have we got a picture of the cake? By Emma Jane, and it's on display at the Cake International Show at the NEC in Birmingham. Isn't it glorious? Victoria had a sponge. Charles has got this wonderful cake.
If you're listening on the radio, at the moment we're just seeing the head and shoulders, but it is a life-size image in cake and sugar craft, and it looks absolutely astonishing.
Crumbs.
Way too good to eat, though. It'd be a travesty to eat that.
Aye.
And as somebody who met him only last week,
Oh, you did, didn't
course.
you?
As one does.
can I just drop a name and
Okay.
say it looks remarkably like
It does look like it, but absolutely.
OK, guys, we have
Andrew
to
Pearce,
leave it
thank you
there.
very much indeed. Right now, we need to catch up with the weather.